Okay, so you want to talk about AI investing.
It's a big topic.
It really is.
It's really changing the game.
Well, that's what we're here for today.
Yeah.
This deep dive into AI investing, and we've got this source AI.pdf,
Right.
and it kind of lays it all out. So,
Covers everything.
yeah,
It really does. From like really basic stuff all the way up to
like what could go wrong?
exactly what could go wrong and what are the risks, and
So no matter where you are in your AI investing journey,
there's something in there for everyone.
absolutely. So let's jump right into it. Um, I think one of the things that excites me the most about AI investing, but also maybe makes me a little nervous, is the idea that it can process so much data, like way more than a human could ever hope to, and make decisions really fast.
Yeah, that's right. Like it's like having a supercomputer, working on your portfolio
Say
with
4/7.
all the time.
Yeah.
It doesn't
No sleep.
it doesn't need sleep. It doesn't need to take a break.
That's both exciting and terrifying. Because like, what if it makes a mistake?
Yeah, well, and so that's where this idea of, kind of the limits of data come in.
Right.
Because AI can only really work with the data that it has.
Right. So it's like it's really good at pattern recognition
Yes.
and maybe even predicting the future based on those patterns,
Based on the data that it has.
based on past data.
Exactly. So, if something happens that's completely out of left field, we call those black swan events.
Black swan events.
Yeah, like the financial crisis in 2008 or the pandemic, things that nobody really saw coming.
Right, because there was no historical data for the AI to learn from.
Exactly.
So how does an AI actually learn from past data?
So it's all about machine learning, and there's a couple of different kinds of machine learning. There's something called supervised learning, where you give the AI, basically data that's labeled, and it learns from that. And then there's something called unsupervised learning, where you just give it a bunch of data, and it tries to figure out the patterns on its own.
So like with supervised learning, is that kind of like flashcards?
Exactly. Yeah, like you're giving it the answer key.
Yeah, okay.
So it knows, okay, this is what a cat looks like. This is what a dog looks like.
Right.
And then it can apply that knowledge to new images.
And so in investing, how does that work?
So in investing, it could be things like, okay, here's a bunch of data about stock prices and here's what happened next.
Right.
And it can try to learn the patterns from that.
Oh, okay. So it's not just about, crunching numbers. It's actually trying to understand the relationship.
Exactly. Yeah, it's trying to learn and adapt.
Okay, so we've got this AI. It's learning, it's adapting, it's processing all this data. But how secure is all of this?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's one of the things that people are most concerned about, right? Because we're talking about our money.
Our hard-earned money.
Exactly. And so I think, from a technical standpoint, these tools use very secure algorithms and risk assessments.
Okay.
But I think, it's important to remember that no investment is completely risk-free, right? So, AI or no AI, there's always going to be some level of risk.
So it's not like a magic bullet.
No,
It's
exactly.
not going to eliminate risk entirely.
It can help you manage risk.
Oh,
And, one of the key things there is diversification.
right. Don't put all your eggs in one AI-powered basket.
Exactly.
So speaking of risk management and kind of the role of AI in investing,
Mhm.
does this mean that, human financial advisors are going the way of the dodo bird?
Yeah, well, so that's a question I get a lot. And I think, it's not necessarily about replacing human advisors.
Okay.
It's more about augmenting them.
So it's like a tool that they can use?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, think about it. AI can analyze massive amounts of data, and it can identify patterns that humans might miss.
Right.
But human advisors, they bring, experience, intuition. They can understand your individual circumstances and goals.
Right. So it's not just about the numbers. It's also about like the human element.
Exactly.
The psychology of investing. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like a collaboration.
I think that's the best way to think about it.
Okay, cool. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. How do these AI investing tools actually work?
So, imagine an AI that's reading every financial news article, every social media post,
Yeah.
Even looking at things like weather patterns that could affect commodity prices.
Wow. So it's like a global network of analysts.
Exactly. And it's doing this all in real time. So it's constantly learning and adapting.
That's incredible.
And the more data it processes, the better it becomes at recognizing patterns and making decisions.
So it's like a self-improving system?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's constantly refining its models through machine learning.
Okay, so this AI is a master data cruncher. But how does it actually apply to portfolio management?
Well, it can do a lot of things. It can help you build a diversified portfolio.
Okay.
It can analyze your financial goals, your risk tolerance, and it can recommend specific investments.
So instead of me trying to figure out like, okay, how much should I put in stocks? How much should I put in bonds? The AI can help me with that.
Exactly. And it can also automatically rebalance your portfolio as the market changes.
Okay.
So you don't have to constantly be buying and selling.
Right, because I have to admit, I'm one of those people that, if the market starts to drop, I get a little panicky and I want to sell everything.
Yeah, and that's where AI can be really helpful because it can take the emotion out of investing.
Right, because it's not driven by fear or greed.
Exactly.
It's just looking at the data.
Right.
Okay, so it can help us stay calm and rational even when the market's going crazy.
Exactly.
But is there a downside to that? Like, is there a value to intuition in investing?
Yeah, well, I think that's a valid point. And, some people do have a really good intuition for the market.
Right.
But I think the problem is that our intuition can be clouded by our emotions.
Mhm.
So, we might make decisions based on fear or greed rather than on what's actually best for our portfolio.
Right, so the AI can help us kind of see through that?
Ex-
Okay, that makes sense. So let's talk about robo-advisors, because that seems to be like the hot new thing in investing these days. How do they fit into this whole AI landscape?
So, robo-advisors are essentially digital platforms that use AI to provide financial advice and investment management.
Okay.
And they're really popular with people who are new to investing or who don't have a lot of time to manage their own
So
portfolios.
it's like a low-maintenance way to invest.
Exactly. You just answer a few questions about your financial goals, your risk tolerance, and the robo-advisor takes care of the rest.
Oh, wow. So it's like having a personal financial advisor, but in an app.
Right.
Cool. Um, but what about the types of investments these AI tools can manage? Is it limited to just stocks and bonds?
No, not at all. Actually, AI is really versatile. It can analyze and manage everything from stocks and bonds to cryptocurrencies to real estate,
Wow, so the sky's the limit.
pretty much.
Okay, but before we get too carried away with all the amazing things AI can do, let's talk about the potential downsides, because I know there are some.
Yeah, of course.
What are some of the challenges and limitations we need to be aware of?
Well, one of the biggest risks is the potential for data inaccuracies.
Okay.
Remember, AI is only as good as the data it's fed.
Right, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. So if the data is flawed or incomplete, the AI can make bad decisions.
So it's important to make sure that the AI tool we're using is working with reliable data.
Absolutely.
Okay, what else? What other potential pitfalls should we be aware of?
Another concern is over-reliance on algorithms. AI can be incredibly powerful, but it's not infallible.
Right, it's not a magic solution.
Exactly. We need to remember that markets can be unpredictable, and there will always be situations that AI models haven't encountered before.
So it's important to maintain a healthy dose of skepticism
Absolutely.
and not just blindly trust the AI's recommendation.
Right. You always want to understand, how the AI is making its decisions, and you want to be comfortable with the level of risk that it's taking.
Okay, so speaking of risk, can AI actually make mistakes?
Yes, it can. you know, as we said before, AI relies heavily on historical data and patterns.
Right.
And while that's useful for understanding trends, it can also be a limitation
Okay.
because the market is constantly evolving and what worked in the past might not work in the future.
So those black swan events that we talked about earlier could really throw an AI for a loop.
Exactly, because if something happens that's completely unprecedented, the AI might not know how to react.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Um, so let's talk about cost, because I know that's a big concern for a lot of people. Are these AI investing tools going to break the bank?
Well, the cost can vary widely. Some basic robo-advisors are free to use,
Okay.
while others charge a percentage of your assets under management.
Okay.
Then there are premium AI-powered platforms that might have subscription fees or transaction costs.
So there's an option for every budget.
Pretty much, yeah. It just depends on, what features you're looking for and how much control you want.
Okay, that makes sense. But with so many options out there, how do I know if an AI investment tool is legitimate?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it's important to do your research check for regulatory compliance.
Yeah.
Read user reviews, and look for platforms that are transparent about their investment strategies and how they use AI.
So don't just jump in blindly.
No, definitely not.
Do your homework, ask questions, and make sure you're comfortable with the platform before you entrust it with your money.
Exactly.
Okay, great advice. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about some specific AI-powered platforms.
Yeah.
Are there any big names in the industry that our listeners should be aware of?
Sure. Yeah, there are a couple that come to mind. Betterment is a popular robo-advisor.
Okay, I've heard of that one.
Yeah, they're known for being really user-friendly, and they focus on socially responsible investing.
Oh, that's cool.
So if you're looking for a hands-off approach and you want to invest in companies that align with your values, Betterment might be a good option.
So it's like invest and forget, but with a conscience.
Exactly.
Awesome. What's the other platform you mentioned?
The other one is Quant Connect.
QuantConnect.
Yeah, and they're a little bit more hands-on.
Okay.
They offer advanced features like the ability to build and backtest your own algorithms.
Oh, wow. So that's for the more sophisticated investor.
Yeah, if you're interested in delving into the world of quantitative investing and maybe even doing some coding, Quant Connect could be a good fit.
So it's like AI investing for the tinkers.
Exactly.
That's cool. So it's not just individual investors who are using AI, right?
Right.
I've heard that banks and hedge funds are also leveraging AI in their investment strategies.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have access to even larger data sets and more sophisticated algorithms than individual investors do.
So it's safe to say that AI is already playing a significant role in the financial world.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And its influence is only going to grow in the future.
For sure.
Another area where I've heard AI is making a splash is in the world of cryptocurrency.
Right.
How exactly is AI being used in crypto investing?
So AI-powered bots are becoming really popular in the crypto space. Yeah, and these bots can analyze market trends and execute trades automatically.
So it's like automated crypto trading.
Exactly.
Wow, it sounds like the Wild West of investing, but with robots calling the shots?
It can be pretty volatile.
Yeah. But what about long-term investors who are more interested in, slow and steady growth?
Yeah, well, AI can be valuable for them too.
Okay.
It can help with asset diversification, portfolio rebalancing, and risk management. So, it can make sure that your investments are aligned with your long-term goals.
So even if you're not trying to time the market or make quick profits, AI can still play a role in optimizing your investment strategy.
Exactly.
That's really good to know. But for those who are new to AI investing, where should they start? It can all feel a bit overwhelming.
Yeah. Well, I think the first step is to research and choose a reputable AI-powered platform that aligns with your needs and investment goals.
Okay.
Once you've found a platform you're comfortable with, you'll typically need to create an account, provide some basic financial information, and define your risk tolerance.
And then the AI takes over from there.
Well, it's designed to be user-friendly, but it's still important to stay informed and engaged.
Okay.
Review the AI's recommendations, monitor your portfolio, and make adjustments as needed.
Got it. So while AI can simplify the investment process, it's not a completely hands-off approach.
Right.
We still need to be active participants in our financial well-being.
Exactly.
But do we need to be tech wizards to use these AI investing tools?
Yeah.
What about people who aren't comfortable with coding or complex software?
No, you don't need to be a programmer to use AI investing tools.
Okay.
Most platforms are designed with user-friendly interfaces that are easy to navigate even for people who aren't tech-savvy.
That's great because I'm not exactly a coding whiz.
Yeah, and if you are interested in customizing your investment strategies or building your own algorithms, there are platforms that allow you to do that.
Okay, so there's a level of accessibility for everyone, which is awesome. But before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to address one final concern that I know a lot of people have. Should we blindly trust AI's recommendations?
Well, that's a question we should all be asking ourselves. AI is a tool. It's not an oracle.
Right.
It's important to critically evaluate the AI's insights, consider your own financial goals and risk tolerance, and make informed decisions that are right for you.
So while AI can provide valuable data and insights, the ultimate decision-making power still rests with us.
Exactly. We should view AI as a powerful ally in our investment journey,
Okay.
but not as a replacement for our own judgment and intuition.
That's a great point to end on for this part of the deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the basics of AI investing to the potential risks and rewards, and we've just scratched the surface.
Yeah, there's so much more to explore.
What exciting things are in store for us in part 2 of this deep dive?
Well, we're going to be diving into the future of AI investing, including its potential to open up new opportunities and address some of the ethical considerations surrounding investments, so stay tuned.
I can't wait. We'll be back soon with part 2 of this AI investing deep dive.
Looking forward to it.
One thing I've been thinking about is this idea of, ethical investing.
Yeah.
Like, I want my investments to, not just make money, but also do good in the world.
Right.
Can AI help with that?
Yeah, actually, that's one of the really interesting areas where AI is being used a lot is ESG investing.
Yes, she.
Yeah, environmental, social, and governance factors.
So it's not just about like, the
Yeah.
bottom line anymore.
Right. It's about investing in companies that are sustainable,
Yeah.
that are treating their employees well, that
Mm.
are, being good corporate citizens.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And AI can really help with that because it can analyze companies based on all these different criteria,
Oh, wow.
and it can help investors build portfolios that align with their
So it's
values.
like you can have your cake and eat it too.
Exactly.
You can make money and feel good about where your money's going. That's really cool.
Mhm.
Um, so speaking of the future, where do you see AI heading in the investment world over the next few years?
Well, I think it's safe to say that AI is going to play an even bigger role in investing.
Yeah.
We're going to see more sophisticated algorithms, more personalized investment strategies.
Okay.
And I think one of the really interesting things is that AI has the potential to open up access to alternative investment.
Alternative investing.
Yeah, like private equity, venture capital, hedge funds.
Oh, wow. So those are like the really exclusive investments that,
Yeah,
only the ultra wealthy have access to.
right.
Could AI make those available to everyday investors?
I think so, yeah, because AI can help streamline the due diligence process. It can identify promising opportunities, and it can even automate some aspects of portfolio management.
So it's like democratizing investing.
Exactly.
That's really exciting. But with all this talk about AI's potential, I can't help but wonder if it will eventually replace human financial advisors altogether. Will we all be relying on robo-advisors in the future?
Well, that's a good question, and I think, it's a possibility,
Yeah.
but I also think that human advisors will always have a role to play
Okay.
because they bring, experience,
The
intuition.
human touch.
Exactly, and they can provide personalized guidance that AI might not be able to replicate.
Right. So it's not about AI versus humans. It's about AI and humans working together.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a collaboration.
Okay. So it's like the best of both worlds.
Right.
That makes sense. But with all this talk about AI's potential, it's important to acknowledge that there are still challenges and uncertainties.
Sure.
What are some of the things we need to be mindful of as AI becomes more prevalent in investing?
Well, one of the key challenges is ensuring that AI systems are developed and used responsibly.
Okay.
We need to be mindful of potential biases in the data that AI is trained on.
Right.
And we need to make sure that AI systems are transparent and accountable.
So it's not enough to just embrace AI blindly.
No, definitely not.
We need to be critical thinkers and ask tough questions about how AI is being used
Mhm.
and what its implications might be.
Absolutely.
And I think that brings up another important point. As AI becomes more sophisticated, are we at risk of losing the human element in investing?
Hmm.
Will it become like a purely mechanical process devoid of emotion and intuition?
Yeah, that's a valid concern. As we rely more on algorithms and data analysis, we might lose sight of the human factors that are so important in investing.
Like risk tolerance.
Right. Our long-term goals, even our emotional attachment to our money.
Yeah, it's like we're handing over the reins to a machine, and in the process, we might be sacrificing some of our own agency and control.
Right. And I think that's why it's crucial to remember that AI is a tool. It's not a replacement for human judgment.
Right.
We need to use AI to enhance our decision-making, not to abdicate it.
So it's not about choosing between AI and human intuition.
Right.
It's about finding the right balance between the two.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Um, you mentioned earlier that AI can help us open up access to alternative investments,
Right.
but can it also help us understand the risks involved?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, risk management is one of the areas where AI can be really valuable
Okay.
because it can analyze vast amounts of data to identify potential risks, assess their likelihood, and even suggest strategies for mitigating those risks.
So it's like having an AI risk analyst working alongside us,
Exactly.
helping us make more informed decisions and avoid potential pitfalls.
All right.
That's awesome. Can you give us an example of how AI might be used for risk management?
Sure. So let's say you're considering investing in a particular company. An AI-powered risk management tool could analyze that company's financial statements, news articles, social media sentiment, all sorts of data
Wow.
to assess its overall risk profile.
Okay.
And then it could alert you to any red flags, like potential regulatory issues or a decline in consumer confidence.
So it's like an early warning system
Exactly.
that can help us avoid making costly mistakes.
Right.
That's really cool.
Mm,
Um, but risk management is just one piece of the puzzle.
sure.
What about the emotional side of investing? Can AI help us manage our own fear and greed?
Yeah, I think that's another area where AI is showing a lot of promise.
Okay.
Because AI can analyze our past investment behavior and it can identify patterns and triggers that lead to emotional decisions.
So it's like having an AI therapist for our investment portfolio.
In a way, yeah,
That's awesome.
because it can provide us with personalized feedback and nudges
Okay.
to help us stay on track and make more rational choices even when our emotions are running high.
So it's like having a Spock-like advisor
Right.
who can calmly analyze the situation and make rational decisions even when we're feeling panicky.
Exactly.
That's really helpful. But let's be realistic. AI isn't perfect, and it can make mistakes.
Right. Right. As we talked about before, AI relies on historical data and patterns,
Yeah.
which means that it can struggle to predict events that are unprecedented
Right.
or market shifts that fall outside of those patterns.
So it's not a crystal ball.
Right.
Can't see the future, and there will always be some level of uncertainty.
Exactly.
Okay, so we need to maintain a healthy skepticism.
Yeah.
And remember that AI is a tool,
I too.
not a magic solution.
Exactly.
We need to use it wisely, critically evaluate its recommendations, and be prepared to adjust our course as needed.
For sure.
Okay, well, this has been an incredible conversation so far.
It has.
We've explored the vast potential of AI investing,
Yeah.
from its ability to, process data at warp speed to its potential to make investing more accessible and even ethical.
Right.
But we've also acknowledged the importance of approaching AI with a balanced perspective,
Absolutely.
understanding both its strengths and limitations.
Right.
So what's next for us in this deep dive?
Well, in part 3, we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of how to actually get started with AI investing.
Awesome. I can't wait.
It'll be fun.
Okay, so we're back and ready to actually put AI investing into action.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm excited to learn how we can actually make this work for us.
Okay, well, the first step is really just to do your research.
Okay.
Don't just jump on the first platform you see. Take some time to explore different options.
Okay, so like with anything else, do your homework.
Exactly. Compare fees, compare features, see what kind of investment strategies they offer.
Right, and I imagine different platforms cater to different types of investors.
Absolutely. Yeah. Some platforms are more hands-on, some are more hands-off.
Okay, so once we've done our research and kind of narrowed down our choices, what kind of information should we be prepared to share when setting up an account?
Well, most platforms will ask for basic personal and financial information, things like your age, income, employment status, investment goals.
Okay, so pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, and that helps the AI understand your situation and make recommendations that are tailored to you.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
and then I imagine transparency is also important.
Absolutely. Yeah. You want to make sure that the platform is upfront about their fees, their investment strategies, how they use AI.
So it's like reading the fine print before you sign anything.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about accessibility. Is AI investing only for the wealthy, or can people with smaller budgets get involved?
Well, that's one of the great things about AI investing is that it's opened up opportunities for people with all sorts of budgets.
Okay.
A lot of robo-advisors and AI platforms have very low minimum investments.
Oh, wow. So you don't need to be like a millionaire to get started.
No, not at all.
That's awesome. So it really democratizes investing.
Exactly.
Okay, now one thing that always comes to mind when I think about online platforms is security. How can we be sure that our financial information is safe and secure with these AI investing platforms?
Yeah, that's a really important question. And, security should be a top priority for any reputable platform.
Right.
Look for things like encryption, multi-factor authentication, secure data storage.
Okay, so like the same kind of security measures that we would expect from a bank. Okay, so let's say we've done our research, we've chosen a platform, we've set up our account, and we're ready to let the AI do its thing. What happens next? Do we just sit back, relax, and watch our money grow?
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Okay.
It's not a completely set it and forget it approach.
Okay.
It's more like having a co-pilot rather than an autopilot.
Okay, I like that analogy.
The AI will provide you with insights, recommendations, and even execute trades on your behalf, but you're still the one in control.
So it's a collaborative effort.
Exactly.
The AI can help us navigate,
Yeah.
but we're still the ones steering the ship.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think often trips up investors is our own emotions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Fear and greed can lead us to make impulsive decisions that we later regret.
Right.
Can AI help us overcome those emotional hurdles?
Yeah, definitely. AI is not driven by emotions, it's driven by data and algorithms.
Right.
So it can help you stick to your long-term investment plan even when the market gets crazy.
So it's like having that Spock-like advisor who can just stay calm and rational no matter what's happening.
Exactly.
Okay. But let's be realistic. AI isn't perfect.
Yeah.
It can make mistakes, right?
Right. As we talked about earlier, AI relies on historical data and patterns.
Yeah.
And that means that it can sometimes struggle to predict events that are unprecedented.
Right. The black swans.
Exactly. So it's important to remember that AI is a tool. It's not a crystal ball.
Okay. So we need to use it wisely, but also maintain a healthy dose of skepticism.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, this has been an amazing journey.
It has.
We really dived deep into the world of AI investing.
Oh, we have.
We've explored its potential, its limitations,
Yeah,
and we've learned some practical steps for getting started.
absolutely.
I feel like I'm walking away with a much better understanding of this exciting new frontier.
I'm glad to hear that.
So as we wrap up, what are your final thoughts for our listeners?
Well, I think AI is going to continue to transform the world of investing in really profound ways. But it's important to remember that it's a tool that's meant to empower us, not to replace us.
Right.
So use it wisely, stay informed, and never stop learning.
Great advice. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this AI investing deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you found it informative and inspiring, and that you're excited to explore the possibilities of AI investing for yourself.
Until next time.
Happy investing.